Okay, well, this one is the one about mutations. So today I want to talk about the biology of mutations, where they come from, and how they potentially impact you. I'm not going to talk about the specific types of mutations in DNA. That's the purpose of your POGL today. Instead, I just want to talk about what mutations are and and how they occur. So just a quick reminder, when we look at DNA, DNA is our genetic code. It's our recipe for genes. Small segments of DNA make up the things that we call genes. And that DNA codes for proteins, and we describe the expression of that DNA or the expression of those genes. We describe them as the phenotypes or the physical features that are the product of the gene expression. That is, what is it, the thing that that protein makes you look like or do or capable of? Do you have the protein for digesting meat? Do you have the protein for digesting milk? Do you have the protein for giving you curly hair? Well, the physical feature you have is the phenotype. And as a result, I say that you are your proteins because your proteins are giving you your physical characteristics. And if we induce some kind of mutation in the DNA, then that mutation is going to alter the expression of the phenotype. Mutations influence the expression of the gene, and then they change the phenotype. So when we look at mutations, we can say that some mutations are beneficial. They enhance your survival. They enhance the survival of your offspring. In general, mutations do not change you in your life in terms of giving you some new adaptation, but they have the potential to enhance the survival of your offspring. And these we often call adaptations. On the other hand, mutations can be malignant. They could be what we might describe as maladaptive. And again, this would be a mutation that you pass on to your children. Mutations can be malignant in your lifetime, and often we call these things cancer. And then mutations can be benign. And in benign mutations, they don't affect you. They don't impact you at all. Now, I just thought I'd show you 3 examples of mutations that have been induced into flies. These are fruit flies. Radiation was used to induce these mutations, and this way I can just show you differences in phenotypes. So for example, let's look at the flies on the right and notice that some of the flies have red eyes and other flies have white eyes, and this might be a benign mutation. This may not have an impact. Going all the way to the other side, we can see a fly with wings, and if getting from point A to point B requires long distances, wings might be an adaptation. But there are also wingless flies, and that's a mutation that was induced by radiation. And if this were maybe a ground fly occupying a new niche, something that nothing else is in, maybe not having wings is beneficial because it requires less energy to survive. Then we can look at what I would call a maladaptive or malignant mutation, and this is a case in which a leg appeared on the head in the place of where an antenna would be. Again, induced by radiation. When we look at where mutations occur, it actually matters a lot. So let's just talk about the type of mutation that can be passed into the next generation. If the mutation were to occur in your gametes, if it were to occur in egg or sperm cells as they are developing in testes and ovaries, well then your offspring will get that mutation, and it might kill that offspring. It might be a malignant mutation, or it might be an adaptation. So this could be a very sad day for whatever the product is, or this could be a happy accident that enhances your survival. Mutations can be good, they can be bad, and mutations could be indifferent, where it really does not impact you in a positive or negative way. Now, another class of mutations affects you while you are alive. So these are mutations to somatic cells. Somatic cells are your body cells. These are the cells that make up your bone and your muscles and your nerves and your intestines. And often when you have mutations in these cells, these mutations lead to cancer. And so these mutations are affecting you as an individual, and most of the time when they occur, they are malignant or maladaptive. They are not helping you out. So let's look at how or why these mutations might occur. So some mutations are just natural, they just happen. We have sort of a natural mutation rate, but the key thing about these mutations is it's pretty random. Like, you can't say, hey, I'd like wings, give me a mutation to give me wings. These mutations affect DNA code, and that code is randomly hit, and sometimes what might happen is there might be a mutation, at a base during DNA replication, and instead of putting a C in this position, a T gets put in. The end result is that when the DNA replicates, one gets the parent correct code, the other gets the mutation, mutant code. Now that mutant code might hurt you if it's in a key codon, or it might not hurt you at all. There is just a natural mutation rate. Your DNA copies itself so many times over the course of a lifetime that it is inevitable that you will begin to accumulate mutations. Now, some mutations are part of this process. Other mutations are about what you do in life. And what I mean by that is it's based on what you are exposed to. Do you get stuck breathing pollution? Pumping gas? Work in a factory around toxins? Do you suntan, which gives you exposure to UV radiation? Do you work around X-rays? Are you exposed to toxic metals? These things are all mutagens, and that means that they induce mutations. Well, this is how you get mutations and what mutations are. It's time for you to work on the POGL and look at exactly how mutations affect the genetic code. Cheers.